Hello everybody, my name's James. Welcome to the Planet FPL Blank Gameweek 29 Deadline stream in partnership with FPL Team. And it's live. FPL Team is your best one-stop shop for all your FPL planning, particularly handy to look at future game weeks during this time of the season. And it's probably the first place you'll see a change to my projections for future double game weeks, should there be any shocks this weekend in the FA Cup. We are 55 minutes away from the Game Week 29 deadline, which is at 1:30 p.m. UK time. I will try and get through as many of your questions as possible between now and then. There's not going to be much of a Q&A at the end because I'm off on my travels to Craven Cottage. I'll be in the away end today. So if anybody's got any non-FPL questions that they want to throw into the chat today during the stream, I don't mind so much because I think with only 8 teams playing, this could be quite repetitive in any case. I have not yet made a transfer this week. Now, my team you can see is on screen, top right hand corner. I'm intending to leave this quite late. The team that I've got currently is Areola, Porro, Torres, Doughty, Bowen, Bailey, Captain Son, and Watkins. That's 8/7 if you include Ollie Watkins. The intention is to take a -4 to sell Saka and Solanke for Maddison and Tony. The real reason for leaving this late is twofold. One, there was some murmurs about James Maddison yesterday, and I don't think I'm going to get any updates. He's posted on Instagram this morning an image about the game. I think he'll be good to go. But it's more just in case there's any Watkins information, because if Watkins is confirmed definitively out, I probably sell him rather than Solanke for Tony. Remember, my intention currently is to wildcard game week 31. And if I sell Watkins rather than Solanke, it might give me the opportunity to push that back should I want to do so. That's the reason for leaving it late. But that's 100%, that is my intention right now, is Maddison and Tony from -4. If I got word that Maddison was out for whatever reason, I, in my situation, would probably go Kulusevski, just because on a surety of starts for this week and game week 30. The better punt for free hitters, I think, would be Brennan Johnson. On Ollie Watkins, some straightforward advice for everyone. If you don't own, leave it. That's if you're not on a free hit. If you're not on a free hit and you do own, please leave him in your team. Don't captain him. If you're on a free hit, my advice, generally speaking, would be get him in, play him. You obviously have the capability to have a strong bench to cover for him, because I think he'll either play or he won't. I don't foresee it being a substitute appearance. So that's the way I would go for Ollie Watkins owners. You'll find many of the answers to your dilemmas on screen. I've added FA Cup correct score predictions to the graphic this week, so it didn't look so thin and bare, but the Premier League correct score predictions are there as well. No home teams predicted to win in the Premier League is what I've got. Captaincy, I think realistically, is between Son and Tony. Son's going to be hugely popular. That's the intention of the way that I'm going to go. The next best I've got is Anthony Elanga. I think he's a great punt this week. Not necessarily for captaincy, but if I was free hitting, he'd be in for me. Right, that's the graphics. You'll see the predicted lineups for all 8 teams this week, bottom right hand corner as well. And please take note of the benching dilemmas. I realise it's only 3 hitters I've got benching dilemmas this week, but it may also prove useful for those of you who are deciding between a couple of players who to bring in. I think that will be useful for you. The benching dilemmas can also act as a who to kind of buy this week as well. Right, that's it on the graphics, I think. Let's get into the questions. Let's see who's first. He says, remove my pin tweet on YouTube. Billy Taylor's first. Says, yo, Jimbus 2000. I wish I was born in 2000, mate. I have some A or B choices for you on free hit. Johnson or Kulusevski, Bailey or Elanga, Morris or Wood. On free hit, I would be out of them Johnson over Kulusevski. I explained my reason Kulusevski was looking beyond 1 week. Free hit Johnson. Bailey or Elanga. Elanga, as I've already mentioned. Morris or Wood, I would go Morris. Purely on, I know he'll play. I think Chris Wood will play. I've got him in my predicted Forest lineup. It could easily be him or Aaron Yee. And I think there's also limited minutes. And Morris is highly likely to play 90 minutes. Wood, if he starts, does he come off for Aaron Yee? About sort of 60, 70 possible. So I think Morris would be the preference out of those two on the end. FPL Pilkington says, good morning, James. Do you think McGinn missing for Aston Villa could benefit, West Ham in general? I can't recall many games where he hasn't played for Villa. Yeah, look, he's Capitano, isn't he? He's obviously an important player for them, multifunctional, can play a number of different roles for them as well. Yeah, and the leadership shouldn't be underestimated from that perspective either. So, yeah, I mean, it's not a good thing for Villa that he's missing, no doubt about it. It makes West Ham more attractive. Remember, obviously, Boubacar Kamara, who until last week they largely coped quite well without so far. There's obviously the doubt about Watkins. There's a number of reasons why West Ham become more attractive over this last week than they would have been before. Plus West Ham's performance on Thursday as well, right? That would have raised confidence levels massively. MRCX says, hey James, how does Wolves versus Coventry affect decision making for this game week? Right, so I'll explain that. Let's have a quick chat on the score. So, obviously that game has started at 12:15 p.m. He says, find the score, James. It's 0-0 currently with 26 minutes gone. In my opinion, and a lot of people disagree with this, but in my opinion, if Coventry win, Wolves and Bournemouth is more likely to go into game week 34. Now, there's a lot of people out there disagree with that opinion. That's my opinion. If Coventry win, Wolves, Bournemouth more likely to go into game week 34. So, if suddenly Coventry were to go 3-0 up in the next 20 minutes or so, then perhaps, making the choice to keep something like Solanke might look more appealing. So, we'll keep an eye on it. Chances are we're not going to know anything definitively between now and deadline. There's 26 minutes gone and it's 0-0. That game is live on ITV if people want to stick it on the background while they're listening to me. If you're around the world somewhere else, it's obviously not on ITV, it's on something else. Mitch Williams is struggling around the 1 million mark. Differential forward for the rest of the season. Thinking Højlund. Yeah, maybe, but it's obviously not for this minute in time. I think Højlund is one, obviously after this week. I think Alexander Isak is another one to consider. And Tony. I think if you look at Brentford's fixtures to the end of the season, they're pretty good. Really good. 30-32 doesn't look brilliant, but the hardest game they've got left is Villa away in 32. Brighton at home 31 is still fine. United at home 30 is fine. Their running's great. And most people are going to overlook him because they've got no double game weeks left. And he's very much on my radar particularly. I could actually see that being in a world where Haaland, as in Erling, got injured. I could definitely see a world where my front three around game week 34 was Højlund, Isak and Tony. I could definitely foresee that. Onidosi says, hi James, thoughts on Isak or Gordon game week 30? Well, we're not quite sure on Gordon's injury status at this moment, and I guess the influence on that is very much on the rest of your team, Oni. Do you have a strong midfield five? You're going to land on Isak probably. If you've got a strong front three, you're going to land on Gordon. So there's probably the influence of that. Little preference for me, honestly, would be Isak. Rhett says, hey James, planning on moving out Saka and Odegaard for Brennan Johnson and Maddison for -4. Would you also move out Solanke to Tony for -8 for 10 total players in this game week? So I could obviously get Johnson as well for Foden. I'm not going to do that. Well, actually, no, I couldn't do that because I've got Pedro Porro as well and I've got Sonny. So I couldn't do that. If I could have done that and only had one Tottenham at the moment, yeah, I possibly would if I was in that circumstance. So yeah, I don't mind that, Rat. There's plenty of upside there in that. My homie says, hi James, hope you're good. Not on free hit, but want to move out Maguire for probably a Forest/Fulham/Brentford defender. Thoughts? They have decent fixtures post 29, wildcard 31 or 33. I'll give you what I think's probably the best one from each. Williams from Forest, Robinson from Fulham, and Reguilon Brentford. Brentford's the one that's possibly going to hurt you the most this week. If it was me, because of the fixture against Palace next week, I'd possibly go for Nico Williams, actually. Would maybe be my choice. Rishi Segal says, hi James, I have 8 players after -4, including Son, Watkins, Bowen, Tony, Maddison and Elanga. Would you take a free hit? You've got most of your bases covered there. I mean, that's basically the big 5 that I've been talking about most of the week. So probably not. I'm not backing anyone for a clean sheet this week. So essentially, you're free hitting largely for the defensive players. Won't bother. Gavin Richardson says, hey up James, at what point do you think that the number of Money in Football podcasts overtake the number of Clash of the Correspondent podcasts that you do? Probably never. I think Clash of the Correspondents is near weekly, so is Money in Football on Patreon, so never probably, mate. There's too many Clash of the Correspondents in the bank as well, and there's no intention to get rid of that. Rishi Segal says, rank 80k. It's irrelevant, Rishi. is relevant to the decision making, mate. Jack Martin says, hey James, what minute do you think for Brennan Johnson this week? Tempted to go him over Maddison for a punt and free hit. Thoughts? 70, 75 probably, but then Maddison falls under the line of 90 as well. Maddison's probably sort of 80, probably doesn't play 90, James Maddison. Right, the wife has just sent me a free hit team. This is what she's gone with. Leno Areola, okay, Dean, Robinson, Porro, Doughty, Collins, Douglas Luiz, Hudson-Odoi, Kulusevski, Son, Bowen, Watkins, Visser, Antonio. Where is Tony, you nutter? I literally told her, Ivan Toney. Right, stupid woman. Get Ivan Toney in you're nuts if you don't have Tony on free hit, honestly. Get Tony in, get rid of Antonio's, might not even play. Tony, and kill me later if that goes wrong. Ilanga over Hudson-Odoi, in my opinion, but that's fine. You want a red person. Yeah, they would play for the same red team, you nutcase.
Oh, what's the other one called?
Ilanga.
Well, he came first on the points.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And I told you not to look at the points because Tony's not been playing since January. She's just picked a team based on most points, hasn't she? Concert over Dean. Love you, bye. Jack Martin says, hey James, what minutes do you... that's what we've done. James Brennan, thoughts on Toffolo this week? Cheers. Don't mind it, preferences for Williams though. I just think it's a little bit more at risk for afterwards. I suppose if you're free hitting this week, I don't mind so much. But I think I prefer Williams over Toffolo personally. Martin Cumberland says, what are your thoughts on Kieran McKenna at Ipswich? Did you know much about him whilst he was at Spurs? Yeah, it was very highly rated. There was a lot of angst and disappointment when he obviously went to Manchester United. He's doing a great job at Ipswich. I can't profess to watch too much of them this season, but he's obviously doing an incredible job. And should Ipswich not get promoted, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up somewhere in the Premier League next season anyway, even if it's during the middle of the season perhaps. Rhett says, sorry James, I meant Watkins or Solanke for Tony for -8. As in which one to sell? Well, you're kind of in the boat as me, right? So for me, if Watkins got a chance of playing this week, you've got to keep him. You've got to keep him. And to go back my point on free hitters as well, if you free hit this week and do not go with him and he starts tomorrow and goes off, oh my God. Just have a strong first person on the bench for him. So look, if we think he's got a chance of playing Rhett, we've got to keep Watkins, I think. You've got a playing player and a non-playing player. So that's where the answer lies. As said, I'm going to leave my decision quite late here. David Toff says, Gabriel to Region for a -4. Gets me 11 players this week and I can play him over Doughty or Gabriel in game week 30. Brentford have United at home, but Luton have Spurs and Arsenal have City. Yep, I understand that. So I don't mind it. I think that if you are going to take a -4 for a defensive one this week, at least let it be Porro Udogie, and he's the one you can make possibly a case for. I'm not in love with that. I'll tell you why I'm not in love with it personally, is I think they've been absolutely abysmal defensively, bar the game against Arsenal quite recently. Defended all right, but you know, Arsenal had plenty of chances. No Pinnock, no me, they're struggling defensively. So to expect the return on investment immediately now, is it worth it? I don't know. The longer I think about it as well, I also think, Arsenal could get beat at City and Gabriel can score. We've seen that in any game. He scored at Anfield and got a big haul. So just bear that in mind. I don't mind it if you want to go that way, David. And I get, particularly when you're on 10, the will and the want to get to 11. I understand that. You just psychologically want to get to 11. Personally, no. Because I could do that for an additional -4, right? Get Region in for Kirkes, and Kirkes is more useless to me than Gabriel's going to be. But I'm not doing it. So I guess, really, David, I'm saying no. But I get why you want to do it. FPL Sponge says, predictions on how Luton versus Forest game will pan out. I'm gambling with my free hit on Luton to bounce back after midweek as a must-win fixture at home. I said on Monday's podcast that I thought Forest would go there and win. I think the energy, both mentally and physically, spent at Bournemouth on Wednesday night has not helped them. I think Forest know they can put themselves a real buffer between them and Luton, and that might be needed, obviously dependent on their hearing of their potential points deduction, which we'll probably find out about, by the way, before game week 30, I imagine. I think there'll be goals in the game. I think that gives both teams an opportunity. I fancy Forest. I just think the biggest thing of all is Luton, too many injuries defensively at the moment. So I fancy Forest to win personally. Yona Donovan says, hi James, Ariola or Martinez on free hit. Ignore this if it is a bench in dilemmas. Thanks for all the content, they are on the bench in dilemmas. Preference is Ariola, I think. I need to remind myself now. Page 5, James. Let's put the keepers up just so we can see it. I'm pretty sure I went Ariola over Martinez. Yes, they're right next to each other, mate. And I think, to be honest, that decision, though, I would say is as much on ownership as anything. I think that might be being overlooked a little bit this week. Is, which players can hurt free hitters? Well, if Ariola does keep a clean sheet or hauls, there'll be a lot of non-free hit teams obviously sitting with him in. Stevie J10 says, hi James, thoughts on Coutinho? Would you prefer Doughty even though we've gone heavy on Forest attack? Doughty's only in for the offensive stuff anyway. So I get it, all in strategy. If it was me this week, I'd probably have Doughty on the bench. I think back three for me would probably be Reguilon, Porro, Williams. But I don't expect any of them to get a clean sheet. So Coutinho I've spoken about a little bit this week as an OOP defensive option to gamble. And it's interesting. Again, you're probably only picking him for the offensive stuff. I don't mind it. Let me say that. I don't mind it. Bets1604 says, hi James, can you think of the key points moves to avoid big red arrows going into the next few weeks if you're playing your free hit this week and the wild card's already been used? Cheers. Look, there's still the template players largely, right? I think there'll be an exodus of Ollie Watkins around about game week 31. By that point, we've obviously got clarity on what 34 will look like, and people will begin to move. For people like you, are obviously going to start moving towards those teams who've got the extra fixture in 34. If there are teams with an extra fixture in 34, because it's still not impossible that there could be none. Neil Kager says, hit the like, people. The least you can do to have your FPL questions answered. Yes, it'd be appreciated, guys, if you could smash a like, hit the sub button. All helps, really, really does. There's about 15% of you have done it so far. It doesn't cost anything. It's free content, guys. A thumb up helps. Peter says, good luck, James. You too. Neil says, P.S. Thanks, James. Enjoy the live match. Thank you, mate. I hope that I will. I've not got my FPL head on for my own team at this point. I need to remember to make transfers before the deadline. By the way, for our patrons watching, obviously, if we have got any confirmed news ahead of the deadline, please tag me on Slack. Talk Bees and FPL Heisenberg are giving a thumbs up to Reguilon playing this week, which obviously doesn't come as a surprise to anyone, I don't think. But yeah, if we've got anything patrons, let us know. FPL Knuckles, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, mate. Baron Bain says, kudos to Elanga on free hit. For me, Elanga. FPL Rahit says, afternoon, James, on a non-free hit. He's Reguilon in for -4, worth it, where he doesn't start, and you have a Brentford defender. I'm going to skip it because I kind of just did a piece on it, but it does look like it's thumbs up to him playing at least. Peter says, who do you think will win the Champions League? I mean, City are still favourites, and I think that's rightly so, isn't it? I'm worried about Arsenal. Like, my own opinion is anyone but them, couldn't care less. Get them out. Oh, they'd be good for the coefficient. No, I hope Harry Kane goes there and gives me a moment where I can cheer him on this season properly. FPL Sponge says, Udogie over Porro on a free hit. As Maddison being back in the team impacted Porro's attacking output? No, I think this is overthink a little bit. Can you pick Udogie over him? Yeah, I don't mind. We've been saying for a few weeks that there's a case to say that the difference in pricing levels it out. This week, the pricing obviously doesn't matter if you're on a free hit. So it's one game, right? It's one game. So it's almost impossible to say which one scores more. And the two of them have subtle differences in their play, which is evolving. For example, Porro didn't play against Crystal Palace, but our build-up structure was very, very different. Last week at Villa, we defended differently from the front in terms of our first line of press with James Maddison a little bit deeper. That affects Udogie and Porro's positioning. Udogie, position-wise, can get into more positions in between the centre-back and the full-back that look threatening, but Porro's got a great armoury of where his returns can come from. It's just pure preference, mate. And on one game, get your coin and flip it, mate. Tiffany FPL Firefly says, struggling between Tony or Muniz. No free hit and taking a -4 to field 9. Gut says Muniz, but worried about Raul. FOMO says Tony, thank you. For me, that's comfortably Tony. Tiffany, I can only answer that as given to me. As ever, if you prefer someone else, go with someone else. But for me, Tony comfortably there. It's Burnley. And we can't even be certain that Muniz starts. Not just him, and there's Breuer as well. He's just gone there on loan to just keep sitting on the bench. Tony for me, mate. Shani Rassel says, hi James, I'm looking to get -8, got 7 playing, currently looking to sell Adebayo, Bradley, De Bruyne for Tony, Udogie and Elanga. Thoughts? Yep, don't mind that, seems perfectly reasonable, mate. Sorry, just keeping an eye on messages coming through to me as well. If it's worth sharing, I'll share it. Heather says, hey James, start Flecken or sells, have Reggie on, Toffolo on the bench, thanks. Still Flecken because of the opponent, mate. Adam says, who finishes the highest point scorer from now to the end of the season? You can't say Haaland or Salah. Can say Sonny though, can't I? From now till the end of the season. Well, in theory, Sonny's got an extra game, hasn't he? Sonny. Mahomie says, hi James, what are your thoughts on the Fulham hiking their prices for the Spurs game? I'm not surprised. We've done bits on Fulham's ticket pricing this season, so it comes as absolutely no shock. They're trying to fleece their fans. They know because of where they are in London, they can feel it. But then look at the reaction when they played Newcastle in the Cup, right? There's a few people there voting with their feet, most definitely. So Fulham had to actually have the most expensive season ticket in the league if you sit on the Riverside stand, which still isn't finished. Sam Emerson says, hi mate, happy weekend. Non-free hitter here. With Madders and Tony in for Saka and Solanke to get to 10 playing. But does that include Alex Moreno? Thoughts on his minutes? Defenders don't infuse me. He'll play in the sense of he'll get on the pitch. Whether he starts or not, it really is a toss of a coin in terms of which one starts between him and Dean, isn't it? I've gone Dean in my predicted lineup. But he certainly gets on the pitch. So he's another defender worth a hit. No, mate. Oni says, non-FPL question. Who was the last time a championship player got into an England squad or tournament? Into a squad, it's got to be Calvin Phillips, isn't it? Calvin Phillips got into it when he was with Leeds and they were still in the championship. It might have technically already been promoted, I think, maybe, but hadn't played in the Premier League yet. So I think Calvin Phillips is the answer. In terms of a tournament, it's probably a goalkeeper, like a third choice goalkeeper. Something like Rob Green, maybe. Hayden says, already got 11 this week, although 4 at the back. Should I take a hit to do Solanke to Tony so I can bench Pau Torres? Oof. Yeah, I probably would. Andrew Sands says, hi James, enjoyed the game today. I've made a game week 30 wildcard with Dominic Calvert-Lewin in it. Your thoughts? Not quite a lot yet. We've got a very simple answer for that, Andrew. Ask some of our Everton patrons what they think of that decision. Adam says, when do you think we in this country will be able to watch all the 10 Premier League games on every weekend, if ever, like pretty much every other country? Might never happen, mate. Won't be this decade. The earliest it can possibly be is 2029. Hanny says, good luck, James. Thank you, you too. Abe says, who starts, Dean or Moreno? Just covered. It's a toss of a coin. I've gone Dean in my predicted lineup. FPL Andy says, afternoon, James. I can get a play in 11 with 1 transfer. Would you also take a -4 to bench Charlie Taylor? Would he, Tony and Maddison in wildcard next week? Thanks. Nah. If you got someone with minutes this week, there's no real justification to take -4. A different example would be Richarlison, right? I don't think he starts this week. We know he's back in the squad. Would I take a hit to remove him? Probably not. He probably plays the last 20 minutes up front. Well, he can't return. So, Charlie Taylor, -4 out when he's got minutes. You've had him all this time and now the blanks come and you think they're selling him. Nah, I'll leave it be, mate. Yahya says, on free hit, I fancy Muniz or Datro Fofana. I don't care if either is nailed considering Jimenez and Breuer situation. What do you think? The chances are either are conflicting for you because you've probably got a Brentford defender, you've probably got a Tottenham defender. If you've not got either, then, if you've not got any Brentford defensively, go for Fofana. Straightforward like that. If you've not got any Tottenham defensive, you've gone 3 attackers, I'd go Muniz. Right? In terms of you've got a bit of both, a preference for one or the other. Jeez. It's probably Muniz. It's close, that. Mahesh says, hey James, Solanke and Haaland to Muniz and Tony. I mean, look, just think beyond this week. That has to be a consideration as well, right? You think about this one logically, right? You go, I don't know what you got in the bank, right? But you go Solanke. Tony's more expensive than Solanke, right? So do you need Muniz to fund that, and therefore are you blocking yourself from going back to Haaland? Like, I wouldn't be doing that. Ben Edinson says, is Ogbene going under the radar on free hit? Prefer him to Morris. Certainly plays. I do note that Dan Ashby, our Luton correspondent, posted his predicted Luton lineup on Twitter. He's got Kabore in the back three with Ogbene playing wing back, but he has still returned from now. If you've got a preference for Ogbene, I don't mind it. I just think on 1 week, Morris on the pens and stuff. It's worth saying in that team with Dan, he's also got Morris playing in a deeper position because he's predicting Cordy Woodrow to start as well. Michael O'Hare says, hi James, hope you're feeling better. I'm playing through this week to wildcard in 30. I've already gone -4. What's your thoughts on a -8? Would be Saka to Bowen or Gordon to Bailey Elanga? I mean, I like the idea of putting Jared Bowen in from -4 over a player not playing. And that feels a better one to carry, maybe. I mean, it's just certainty, isn't it, versus Elanga. I like the Elanga move. Thing is, well, though, Gordon, if he's fit, home to West Ham 30, home to Everton 31. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be selling Gordon if I could avoid it and you're carrying him through. Mind you, you're saying wildcard 30, so it doesn't matter. So it's 1 week. I'd go Elanga, mate. Wildcard 30, I'd chance Elanga. I think, yeah. Richard Sleeman says, hi James, looking forward to these relegation games today. I'm not. Surely it's nothing to do with me. Surely captain on Watkins, is he okay as he either plays or not, being overlooked? Thinking of going with Muniz over Tony Visser to fund Salah next week. I would not consider captain Ollie Watkins. I'll tell you why. The injury he's got is a cut, right? And it's just about the stability. I spoke about this yesterday. The stability of his knee, right? It's on the side of his knee. So when he flexes, does that wound stretch or not? If they can keep it so that it's not, I think he'll play. If he's in pain when he's shooting through a ball or bending his knee to run, he's done. Is there a chance that he trains, thinks he's okay, does a warm-up, thinks he's okay, and then goes into a full 100% sprint once the game started and pulls up and goes, nah, the wound's open too much? It's not worth it, mate. It's not worth it when, for me and Sonny and Tony, there's 2 brilliant alternatives for captaincy this week. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Who's next? Shane Hooley says, phone to Elanga -4, wildcard in 31. I don't mind that. I'm not going to do it personally, but I don't mind it. Jovan Kanija says, last year Mads killed me. Now I go Kulusevski. Good luck. I hope the ginger from Sweden does well for you, mate. FPL Glasto says, afternoon, if anyone has more players than me, 6, they need to like the stream. Yes, can everyone who's got more than 6 players this week like the stream? Wolves Coventry, by the way, is 0-0 at half-time. FPL Glasto, thank you, my friend. Frank Seagull says, took your advice for -4 Zabani last week. Jesus, did I advise that? Sorry, I'll tell you what, that's made me laugh in a minute. Should I bench Cash or Taylor? I have 12. No, it's bench Taylor, isn't it? Cash isn't a certain starter, but that's the one. The wife's just messaged me and she said, lost the whole thing, stupid thing, so this is my new one. Yeah, that's better with Tony. Yeah. Better with Elanga. Yeah.
Yeah.
Much better.
Can I take that one then?
Yeah, like that. Much better.
Who am I benching?
Oof. Jeez. That's rough, that. Douglas Luiz.
Oh, I've heard of him though.
I've heard of him though. Yeah, Douglas Luiz, I think. But remember, if Watkins don't play, you come in, right? Put him first sub.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Alright, love you. Bye.
I know this Morris. Is he any good?
Yeah, leave Morris in the team.
I need to bench 3 people, James.
Yeah, 2 defenders.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I think for you, probably Conser and Robinson.
Oh, but then I've got no Fulhams.
Yeah, well, they're playing Super Spurs, babe. What are you laughing for, bitch? Barrett OP says Elanga for -4 and play over Bowen next game week. I don't mind you playing him over Bowen next game week. If you're getting him in for a -4, as kind of a la the one mentioned with Foden earlier, again, I don't mind that. There's a lot of that. Sorry, I know it's shitty answers, but there is a lot of I don't mind that because I'm conscious I can make that sort of move and I'm not going to do that. So for me, I could take a -4 to get Elanga and probably play him over Bowen next week. I agree with that. But there's every chance I'll be buying Cole Palmer next week to bench Bowen, right? Gavin Richardson says, we'll know a lot more about the season after this weekend. I'm moving towards no Watkins for 4 to 6 game weeks and maybe one of Saka, Foden, Bowen. Are you hatching a similar bet against template player ideas? Yeah, Watkins we spoke about quite a bit on Clash of Correspondence about being expendable from game week 31. And obviously, if he's injured for a couple of weeks, he's expendable now, isn't he? So, yeah. And I think Arsenal players can potentially be taken on during the run-in as well. I'm sure they'll do very well, but with the fixture list, we don't know how to react and the balance of the squad with the difficult Champions League draw and what the impact of that is on the team. I'm sure Saka will probably still play nearly every minute, but I spoke about this on stream yesterday. After we come back, City away on the Sunday, Luton at home on the Wednesday, Brighton away on the Saturday, then Bayern Munich on the Tuesday. Does Saka need to play Luton at home? And then Sunday, what are you holding for? City away, Brighton away, Villa at home, Wolves away, Tottenham away. Can he be taken on? Yeah, possibly. Possibly. But again, it will become clearer after this weekend for that sort of thing. Again, a reminder to patrons who are watching live, if we've... good call to bench this guy who can't spell his own name. Just talking about Anthony Robinson. Monkey Pill says Richarlison to Maddison for a hit. Can't get him otherwise. 3 Spurs wildcard in 31. I'd leave it. And if you're sitting there before 30, really confident Richarlison doesn't start against Luton, what a differential that could be for you in 30 if it looks like he's going to go back through the middle. What a differential. And no one else will go there. So I'd leave it be, mate. Jax B. Nimble says, any case for Reguilon, Soufal, Dean as starters, pick one for 4.4, 4.6. Yeah, I think it's Reguilon from them. I think Soufal over Dean for me. A man Verma says, Maddison or Bowen, Paquetá in brackets, a hit or both. Non-free hit, a wildcard 31 probably. I'm going to say both, but also don't know what you're selling. Michael O'Hare says, another question if that's all right. How many hits are too many hits in this blank game week? 12. As in minus 12. You'll hardly ever get me giving the thumbs up to that. -8 if it's for 3 blankers and preferably for 3 attacking players. Fine with me, mate. Barat OP says Elanga for -4 player. I've already done that, mate. I don't want to see it again. You're very welcome, Rishi. We are circa 23 minutes from deadline, guys. Yahya says on free hit, I have Fleck and Doughty Porry. I presume that's Porro. What's your opinion on a punt for the third defender like Coutinho or Williams, or any suggestion you have? I don't like double Brentford defence like the template. It'd be Williams for me, mate. Shout out to Neil. Basker Jotti, Immortal Technique, Mohammed Scott, Standard Marriage. Yeah, exactly, mate. Avi says, tell it's Tony's birthday. It is Ivan Tony's birthday today. Yes, it is. It's also Heung-Min Son's. No, it's not. Oliver says, got 8 players currently, planning on a -4 for Maddison and Tony. Would you do an extra -4 for Elanga? Also, wildcard 30, 31. Kind of covered Oliver. His preference, right? I could have. I'm not going to. I think also if you end up wildcarding -30, I'd lean on the side of no. Will says, who would you take out for Son in Sky? Solanke or Foden? For me, based on the fixtures and the fact that Bournemouth will play on the Saturday afterwards, be Foden. Mr. Dyer says, sorry for the question, it was not here at the beginning. I'm blind, no problem, pal, so can't see the graphic. Who is your rankings of captains this week? Son, Tony, Elanga, Vissa is the top 4. There you go. I'll tell you the rest just for benefit. Bear with me. Morris 5th, then Maddison, Bowen. It's come off the screen again. It's not easy to remember 10 names. So, Son, Tony, Elanga, Vissa, Morris, Maddison, Bowen, Gibbs, White, Johnson, Kudos. There you go. That's the top 10 I've got on captaincy this week. Isham Patel says, best goalkeeper choice on wildcard. On what wildcard now? Interesting. Fleckham. If it's a goalkeeper that's playing this week for the rest of this season, Fleckham. Ed Wells says, would you transfer Richarlison out for Maddison -4? Covered, no. Andrew Gronin says, Bailey, Kudus or Johnson for my final midfield spot. Okay, we need clarity here if it's free hit or not. If it's free hit, Johnson. If it's not, Kudus. Eshank says Tony for Solanke for a hit. Yes, I'm likely doing it, mate. Josh14X says time for Harry Wilson, James. I wouldn't even say he's a certain starter. I think, they could bring William back in and move Iwobi to the right as an example, or play Deckard over Reed out there. I think what you got to consider when you're playing Tottenham, the wide players have to do a really interesting job against Tottenham's fullbacks, right? And I think Deckard over Reed is a better suit than Wilson, so I wouldn't be surprised if Wilson doesn't start today. Grealish Carve says, got the wrong on Tony. Gavin Richardson says, I used to look at players, playing against Sheffield United for big attacking returns. Luton are also in that category now. Yes, I agree. Spurs Luton next week. It's worth taking another -4 for Mads this week then. Yeah, look, that's part of my strategy as well. If I think Sonny plays through the middle against Luton, my intention would be to captain game week 30 as well. Liam McCartney says, Alanga Defo going to start. I don't pick the team, mate, but I would be surprised if he doesn't. The Blubber King says, hi James, start Gibbs White on Muniz, starting Alanga. Also, as a Spurs fan, do you think Johnson starts? I'd want to gamble Muniz if I had him, probably. But no, I think I'd start Gibbs White, I think. Do I think Johnson starts? Yes. Dr. Colley, -4 Alanga punt, wildcard 30. Sure. Ishan says, thoughts on Wood. My best days are gone, mate. Connor O'Loughlin says, another James, hope you're well. Which two start of Alanga, Morris and Kudos? Got the first two currently with Kudos ready if Watkins doesn't play. Cheers. I think I'd be Alanga and Morris, Kudos first sub for Ishan. I'm only messing, mate. I spoke about Wood and Aaron Yee near the start. I'm not hugely keen. FPL Gold Galazzo says, good afternoon, FPL Top Advisor. Have a great game weekend. You know what's coming next. Smash the like, you flipping mags. Cheers, mate. Zedon1 says, hi. Who are your first, second and third strikers for this game week? Tony, Watkins, Morris. No. Tony, Watkins, Visser. Berticus says, hey mate, on free hit, would you go Udogi, Region and Madders or Udogi, Porro and Kudos? Jesus Christ, mate. Would I go Udogi, Region and Madders? Okay. Or Udogi, Porro and Kudos. So, Udogi's in both, mate. There was no need to write that. So, it's Region and Madders or Porro and Kudos. Region and Madders or Porro and Kudos. Region and Madders, mate. Luke Galway says, afternoon, James. Bowen Alanga or Gibbs White on non-free hit. Non-free hit. I don't mind the Alanga call. Alanga over Gibbs White for me. I mean, if I was buying this minute, Alanga. But I'd want Bowen there this week. That's tough. I think my more cautious style would say Bowen. Sam C says, Kulusevski minutes this week. 90. Liam McCartney says, would you rather do Saka to Maddison or Pedro Neto to Alanga? No wildcard left, so cautious on getting rid of Saka. Yeah, then you're better off going the other way, mate. Henriette says, hello James, just want to wish you good luck on Gameweek 29. Hope you beat Fulham. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Cheers. Smash the like button. Thank you very much, mate. Have a good weekend. Baron Bain says, is Paqueta a good choice on free hit? Heard there might be a slight injury, but the chemistry and recency bias seen with Bowen is hard to ignore. I don't see him showing up in many teams. Why is this? It's just because Kudos and Bowen are more explosive. It's simple as that, mate. And actually on Clash of Correspondence, Chris advised Ward-Prowse over Paquetá as well. So, no. There's a little bit... We're pretty confident he'll play. There's a little bit of doubt He was withdrawn for precautionary reasons on Thursday night. I'm pretty confident he'll play. Gavin Richardson says, if it meant Spurs winning the league, would you have Arteta's face full size tattooed on your actual face? I can't stand Lego hair Arteta. No, there's some levels. You finally got me on one, mate. No, I can't be doing that. Omar El Aranudi, sorry mate, says, is Saka to Elanga worth -4, not on 3 at 29, aiming to wildcard 31? For me, the answer on that is yes. Ash88 Gloss says, thanks as always, James. Everyone hit the like button. Would you pick Maddison or Elanga for the next 2 weeks? The next 2, Maddison. Charlie Monkman says, hope you're well, James. Solanke, Gordon, and Saliba to Tony Maddison. Porro for -8, mate, to save the free hit. Yeah, don't mind. Don't mind. I mean, there's 2 attacking players arguably you might want next week. Just consider that, Charlie, but I don't mind it. Lee Jackson, is Watkins going to start tomorrow? Cheeky bitch, Villa correspondent, mate. I don't think so, personally. But I cannot advise anybody not to have him in their team. Jared Coleman says, hi, James. Non-free hitter here. Maddison and Visser or Kudus and Tony. I'm short 0.2 for Maddison and Tony. Preferences to Tony route, mate. Jay Barker says, good afternoon, James. Already on a -4 to field 9. Would you take an extra hit of Garnacho to Elanga / Stupinan? Or, okay. Hit of Garnacho to Elanga / a Stupinan to Region to field 10. Haven't taken a hit all season. It's killing me taking them. Then don't take them, mate. Don't take it, mate. If it don't suit you, don't take it. Matthew Hall says, sell Solanke or Haaland for Tony. Selling Haaland allows Salah game week 30, wildcard 31. Sure. So, I don't mind that. You're happy to go Haaland without Arsenal? Sure, don't mind that. Ishan, I'm going to say Muniz. Rob Pick says, hi mate, would you consider going Muniz over Tony to give an easy route to Salah in 30 or just let Mo go? Likely wildcard 31, hope you will. I'd let Mo go. G says, hi James, would you transfer Richarlison for Maddison? No, don't sell any player who's playing this week. Wildcard 31, don't sell any players playing this week if you're making active transfers, particularly for hits. Rennie Rocher says, hello, play Taylor, Vitinho or Kabori. That's a banger. Have a good game with. I'd play Vitinho out of that. Gary Robinson says, hi James, if you aren't on free hit but don't have wildcard left, is Solanke to Tony a reluctant skip? Would you still do it? I'd still do it, I think. Yeah, I'd still be getting Tony in this week. We've also got a factor in Solanke's carrying a problem. We know this, right? Again, patrons, if we've got any confirmed ITK stuff that's running around, give us a tag on Slack. And we'll have a look at what's happening. It's 12 minutes I've got to deadline, guys. I need to think about doing these own transfers for myself, don't I? Right. Let's kind of get this ready. Okay. I'm logged in. I'm not going to do it yet. I'm going to wait a little bit. Ben Edison, Sky question. Do you make any moves if Watkins doesn't start? Also, is it straightforward Bowen captain if Watkins doesn't start? I will almost definitely keep Ben, unless if he's ruled out for a serious period, I will punt something like Kudus or Bailey in Sky. If he's not, if he's got a chance of being back for game week 30, I'll be keeping. Magic Waddle FC, and yes, Bowen captain. Magic Waddle FC says, given Watkins only played 33 minutes and couldn't play on, Obs has an open wound near a joint, healing almost certainly reversed infection risk, bench Watkins as first and only sub. But why is he going to be a sub under this circumstance? He's going to play or he isn't he? So I think start him and your first bench covers it. Hello Mike. Dave Collins says, take out Saka or Foden, wildcard 31. I'm taking out Saka is my plan, mate. Alex Barrett says, work mini league rival has Bowen. Should I bring him in too to minimise damage or go Kudus or someone else instead? I'd cover it. Josh Nye says, Saka to Bowen from -8. It's not, is it? It's a -4. Yes. Jax B. Nimble, come you Spurs. Yes. Will Shaw says, mate, there could be some gold content we explain the FPL basics to your missus. Obviously short clips only. Well, if you support the show on Patreon, www.patreon.com/Planet FPL, you'll never guess who's guesting on Planet FPL Patreon this coming Friday. Yes, they've been asking, they're getting it, and it'll be available from Basic Plus tier as well. Rory says, what are your thoughts on Areola on free hit, i.e. over Flecken? Don't mind, I've spoken about this. Ashish says, I already did Solanke to Tony and Richarlison to Maddie. Wouldn't have done it if I knew Richarlison was going to be in the squad. Should I do phone to Bowen or Paquetá? Okay, that was a long way of just asking one question at the end. They will only be in for a week. Worth it. Wouldn't go Paquetá under that situation. Bowen I would. Reddick103 says, should I take -8 to field 11 for players I want over the next few weeks or free hit? I'd rather you take the hit. It doesn't have to be the -8. You don't have to get to 11, right? There's no you've got to have this many players this week. It doesn't exist. I'm probably going to have 9/10. Real Sure says, anyone outside the template 5 attackers that you think are worth a -4 for non-players if I'm wildcard 30, 31? If you might wildcard in 30, no. If you might wildcard in 31, then I think, likes of Maddison, you might argue is part of it. But I think Elanga is the one, really, sort of outside it. Andrew DeReg says, Hudson-Odoi, a Chelsea fan here, I miss him. Elanga the preference, mate. Sib Sharma, Fofana or Wood as a differential? Fofana, just because I'm not confident on Wood's minutes. Jude White says, who would you drop between Bailey, Elanga and Morris? Bailey. Neil Kager, shout out. Grant Miak, shout out. Ed Ben Edison really would like Visser on free hit, but lack of defensive options means Region blocks it. Okay. Ben says, do you like a triple up of Spurs midfielders? Yep, don't mind that. Ethan Justin says, hello, James, Tony and Maddison worth a -8. I think I'm going to say yes, but I don't know what you're selling. Ben Eddington says, Duran, third striker. Not keen on that. No. I'll tell you the one that no one's mentioning, who could be really good if Watkins is out, is Diaby. Diaby definitely starts if Watkins is out. And that's, not a single person's mentioned him. I'm surprised we got this far with no one mentioning Duran. I'm not so keen on that, Ben. He's also come back from injury himself very recently, right? So, not a certain starter for me. Ian from Melbourne says, hello, James. Non-FPL question. Your top 3 Gaza goals for Spurs? Ooh, yikey. Arsenal semi-final, 1991. I'm very tempted to just say Notts County at home, quarter-final, 1991. Second goal against Portsmouth away in the 5th round, 1991. If I go beyond that, say Oxford at home. The first goal we got, lovely little 1-2 with Paul Walsh when he went around the goalkeeper against Oxford at home, 4th round of cup. The free kicks against Derby early in the 1991 season. I think it probably is those Arsenal, Notts County, Portsmouth goals, He also says, we had one night against Hartlepool in the League Cup second round that same season. He got 4 and he scored a couple of choke goals that night. Goal against Man City, opening day of the season, 1991, when he just come back from Italian 90. What a player. Jack Tasker says, anyone have any news on Forest lineup? Nothing that I can share at this minute, and it doesn't mean with 7 minutes of deadline, there's not a lot going on here. I'll give this to 25 and make the transfers, I think. Jesus says, Saka for Bowen -4. I'm okay with that. Gavin Richardson says, is there another burger as good as Big Tasty, and if so, which one? There's loads of burgers better than McDonald's burgers, mate. Loads. Too many to mention, mate. Little Franzo smash burger down the road from here, actually. I don't want to point in that way, like you know. Ben Eddington says, hit the like. Thank you, mate. Billy Howlett says, hi, James. I'm on non-free. Is it best to bring in Morris or Muniz for 2 weeks only? This is probably Morris under that circumstance. Let's check score of Wolves versus Coventry for you. That remains 0-0, 52 minutes gone. So there's nothing we can learn from this that's going to give us anything definitive at the moment. Gilberto Nava Hernandez, what a great name. How many minutes do you think Richarlison gets? 20. Sib Sharma says, got 8 with -4. Do I do Saka to Foden or to Bowen for -8 to field 9? I would do Saka. Sell for me would be the one. Well, we don't look like we're going to get anything here, particularly in terms of ITKs. Again, patrons, if we've got anything, throw us a bone and a stick on Slack. Be appreciated. That's questions covered, I think. MRCX, good luck everyone, play it your own way. Yeah, that's it. We're about 6 minutes to deadline, so throw anything you want in the chat at this stage, guys. Vishal Doshi says, not on free hit, -4 currently, assuming a -8. He's off the cards from wildcard 30, especially since it would be for defensive asset. No. You know, taking a -4 for a defender for 1 week, mate. No, not keen. It wouldn't matter who it was. For me, like, say I wanted to bring in Udogie, just as an example. At a -4, I'm justifying it by definitely playing him at home to Luton next week. For 1 week, honestly, I don't think anyone keeps a clean sheet this week. So, no. I've got to get you an attacking return, basically. You're never going to have anyone that's the odds are in favour of a defensive player getting a attacking return. So, no. Goal for Coventry. I did say this was the one I fancied could be a shock. Yeah, that's right. Goal for Coventry. Not got the scorer confirmed yet, but Coventry are in front at Wolves. Jesus says start Martinez or Areola. I'm going to say Areola. GM Werner or Visser. Redrick is giving us the score update. Ellis Sims for Coventry. Thank you, El Padrino. Thank you, Fighter Jets. Gavin Richardson. Is this season a lower scoring season in terms of FPL points? I'm higher ranked than last year, but points seem lower. Yes, it is currently. Andrew Sands is tracking that at the moment for people. It's about, I think it's kind of across the board, roughly about 70 points behind. Pugsia says, hi James, will we know the 34 and 37 fixtures by the 30 deadline? The answer is we should do, probably. Can I guarantee it? No, we can't. Right, let's get these transfers done. I kick myself if I don't do it. Right, Saka to James Maddison. Why is Maddison so far down? That's like not helpful. Saka to Maddison. It's going to be really good when the game freezes on me, isn't it? I wouldn't normally leave it this late. And it's going to have to be Solanke to Tony for me. Leaves me 0.6 in the bank. Make transfers. Saka to Maddison. Solanke to Tony. Play free hit. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? Saka to Maddison. Solanke, Tony. -4. Confirmed transfers for -4. Done and confirmed. We're going to put the vice captaincy on Ivan Tony. So I'm not going to upload that on the screen because I'm going to end it in 3 minutes. So just to confirm, that's Tony in for Solanke for me and vice captain. And Maddison in for Saka. So Foden first bench. And that's saved. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there you go. It's there. You might be able to see it. You might not. I don't know. No one ever knows how well that's going to come out. Pugs here says, hi James. That's what we've done. We should do. I can't guarantee it, mate. I saw the Football Supporters Association tweeted yesterday that they'd been asking where the update was on TV fixtures. And the response they had was next week. So we should hopefully be next week. I'd see someone saying it's going to be disallowed. I don't know if that's on the Coventry goal. I'm obviously not watching it. So hopefully next week, which would be great because then there's loads of time as well. Peter Dirtson says bench Elanga or Morris. I wouldn't be benching Elanga this week if I owned. Gavin Richardson says maybe the lower FPL points are due to less clean sheets. Yes, that's one reason. And I think also, factor things like Rashford's haul when a lot triple captained him last week, stuff like that. Fighter Jet saying they're still being checked. Possible VAR check for handball. Conor O'Loughlin saying harsh if it's disallowed. I'm not watching it, so I can't comment on the decision. Henry saying that's off Lamina, surely. Good luck, Rob Chetty at Horsham today, playing Enfield Town, my local team. Well, it's not my local team. The closest club I was born to is Tottenham. Detail says they can't give that as handball. It's inconclusive. I feel like a bit useless as I'm not watching this at this moment. I literally deleted the ITVX app the other day. I'm not going to fucking re-download it. I can't be bothered. Vishal says, will we know for sure the 34-37 schedule after FA Cup? I literally just answered that question, Vishal. I can't give you certainty. I would say about 90% we'll know before game week 30. But can't say for sure. The goal is given to Coventry. I mean, if you're looking at it for that long, then the goal should stand, shouldn't it? Gavin Richardson says, enjoy Fulham and have a good weekend. Thank you, mate. We are a minute to deadline, guys. So do make sure that you're absolutely getting this locked in at this stage. The Wadley probably is handball, but maybe might not be enough to call it clear error. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at it for that long, give the goal, man. The impact of that is if Coventry win, as I said, I think Wolves-Bournemouth is more likely for game week 34. And it could suddenly be, if Newcastle lose later and Manchester United lose later, it could suddenly be that game week 34 is going to look quite nice. Conor Glockton says, enjoy the game, James. Have a good weekend, everyone. Thank you very much. That's deadline, guys. I'm not going to do any more cues, guys, because I'm going to Fulham. And I want to go out and enjoy my day. And we've answered another few in here as well. So I wish you all the very best of luck. Schedule for next week. Monday will be the Game Review podcast, obviously. Tuesday will be Clash of the Correspondents for you with Gary Mansell and Jack Toner, Chelsea versus Burnley. Sky Fantasy Football on Wednesday. Thursday, the Fan View with Gemma and Harrison Eno. Yeah, they're back. They're going to join me for a chat on West Bromwich Albion and the promotion race from the Championship. That's on Thursday. Ask James stream for you on Friday as well. The next deadline stream in Game Week 30 will be 10 a.m. in the morning, Saturday 2 weeks. That will be happening. There won't be a deadline stream for Game Week 31, no, because I'll be going to West Ham United that evening. Can confirm I've got tickets. That's just the free stuff. If you want to support the show for additional content, it's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. We have our Q&A on Monday. On Tuesday, David Beaton is hosting a quiz with me. On Wednesday, we'll have Tottenham. Probably, I imagine, could be Tottenham's, but I think it'll be Tottenham. Thursday, Money in Football, topic to be determined. And on Friday, as I said, the wife is going to be joining me for a special Q&A that we're going to open up to our patrons. More info for our patrons on that after Monday's Patreon Q&A. If you want to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. Do it because you want the additional content or because you want to support the show. Shout out to Fighter Jets, Andrew, Neil Kager, Conor Glockton, D-Taff. Thank you very much. Much appreciated, guys. Smash a like, hit the sub button. Have a great weekend. Hope your arrows are green. Come you Spurs. Ciao for now, everyone.